Today, I wanted to share the pain body, the evolution of the pain body map that I developed to talk about the Killaby inquiry's modality and actually how it works. So on the left side of the map over here, you can see it says adverse childhood experiences. And basically, adverse childhood experiences is what creates the pain body. And what are adverse childhood experiences? Adverse childhood experiences, as listed over on the right side of this map, is the result of not having our needs met as children. And what are our needs as children? Basically, it's unconditional love and safety. And so when we don't get those needs met, in reaction to that, the natural inclination for us is to express sadness, fear, anger, or hurt at our caregivers for not getting our needs met. And for most of us, we had unconscious caregivers. And as a result of that, when we expressed our anger, hurt, sadness, or fear, basically, they would punish us and shut us down for expressing that, because probably most of us can be uncomfortable in the face of that. So our parents will tend to shut us down because it's uncomfortable for them. So what do we do with those emotions? We bury them, we push them down, and it's not safe to show or express those for us, so we hide them. And usually there's one or two that maybe is safer for us, and we work with that and make that conscious in the Killaby inquiry. So for instance, you might be more comfortable expressing sadness in front of other people, but really be hesitant about expressing anger. Or you might be comfortable expressing fear in some situations, but not others. We all do repress fear to a large degree. And so what are the strategies that we have for repressing our emotions? There's a lot of strategies we have. And one of them is using our cognition, or our thinking mind, to internalize and create deficiency stories about ourselves, because it's much easier and safer for us to blame ourselves as children than to blame our parents, because our parents, we see them as being there to protect us, and if we see them in a bad light, then that feels very unsafe for us, because they're there to protect us. So it's safer for us to blame ourselves for their shortcomings than to blame them. So as we look at the cognition layer of the pain body, this is the safest layer. And here I list it as the mind, the thinking mind. And usually we come up with deficiency stories. This is how the ego is developed. We have a false sense of self. There's strategizing that's happening here. This is where our conditioning shows up, our programming, our identities and stories. And again, this is a lot safer for us than actually feeling our buried emotions. And here, the inquiry that we use on this layer is called the utility inquiry. So we make that conscious, whatever those beliefs, deficiencies, stories, etc. are. The next layer is the body layer, where our somatic sensations occur. And so science is showing us and telling us that basically any kind of contraction in the body is actually frozen emotions. So it's safer for us to, for instance, have knots in our belly or hold our shoulders rather than feel and express the fear that we have. So that's what we do. We brace ourselves against the sensation, or a number of other strategies that we might use. And here on this layer, we find chronic pain, autoimmune issues, contractions, disease. And the inquiry tool we use on the body layer in the Kiloby inquiries is called the mining tool. And over here, with this purple arrow, you can see that with addictions and compulsions, we tend to ping back and forth between a story we tell ourselves and then whatever the addiction is. So a lot of the mechanisms in our life involve a couple different layers that keep us safe from feeling the buried emotions. And then here in the center is where we put our buried emotions, those ones that aren't safe to feel, whereas there are emotions that are safe to feel, and those don't end up in the pain body at all. They're online, they're out there. We're able to feel and express those emotions. The ones that we aren't able to feel and express, that we hide from ourselves, we might not even be aware of them, are hidden right here in the center of the pain body. And so the tool we use for this is called the rapid fire tool. And this is where we do what we call the 3D repression work. And as we do the 3D repression work, which works both with our emotions, our buried emotions, and the body both together, we find that we're able to transmute the emotions and feelings that weren't safe for us. We're able to transmute them, and we can feel and express them in our life. We can express our boundaries, and we learn how to express our needs as well. So as we do the 3D repression work, we're able to transmute the sensations in our body into feeling and expressing that emotion in our everyday life. And our authenticity comes online, because as we're burying these emotions, what happens is we have to create a false self to keep us safe from feeling those emotions. And that false self is created out here, as I just described. So basically, yeah, that's in a nutshell, that is how this modality works. And it's extremely transformative, powerful work. And it's, in my experience, it gets to the root of all these issues, all this that's listed on this pain body map. It helps dismantle the ego. It helps reverse a lot of the suffering in our life. And it's not an easy process, because basically everything on this map we've clung to for safety and love in our life. And that's our attachment. Our attachment, where we got our needs met in a very, it's not raining there. So this is very difficult work, because basically everything that you see on this map, we have clung to for safety and for love from our caregivers. And all these programs, all this conditioning is our identity. And basically with this work, we're dismantling and making conscious how these identities are really false, these things that we're clinging to for safety. But at the same time, that is our identity, and that's who we are. So as that starts to dissolve, this work can be challenging, and it's often there can be backlashes, and people will come away from the work because their sense of self is being challenged. And at the end of the day, this is a non-dual spiritual path, and of a very powerful degree. So if you have any questions or insights about what I've shared, please feel free to share below. And thanks for listening. I've been meaning to make this video for quite some time. I'm finally getting around to it. So thank you for being patient with me as I share this with you. So basically the two things that we're playing with here is one is attachment. And attachment is the things we do in our life for love and safety from our caregivers. The other side of this equation is authenticity. And oftentimes these two things are competing against each other in our life. In other words, we might compromise our sense of self in order to get love and safety from another person. And we make that conscious. And a lot of that is programming. So, but as we make this conscious, the conditioning starts to fall away as we start to feel the repressed emotions, and our authenticity comes more online, which is very freeing and very liberating.